So people always ask me whether or not becoming an administrator is a pathway for them. They want to know what my experience has been, having been an assistant principal for a number of years, then now a principal over the course of 3 schools. And my answer is always, you have to really think about why you're choosing to move into the role of a school administrator. Right now, we're in the month of June, wrapping up the school year here in New York City. A lot of districts around the country have already done. They're done usually in May. And this is a time when people are starting to really think about what's next. People are retiring, people are moving on, people are being, removed from positions. So there's opportunities right now in preparation for next school year to become an assistant principal or even become a principal. But that why is very important, because too many people are so focused on the title and the job that they're not really focused on the action that's required of the work. I'm gonna say it one more time. Too many people are focused on the title and the job. Okay, I am an assistant principal. I am a principal. My job is assistant principal. My job is principal. That's the focus, right? So you can tell everyone, you can announce to the world about your title and your job. But they're not thinking about the actions required of the work. Whenever I say I am a principal, I cringe a little bit because I am Uche. I'm Uche Njoku. And the work that I do is serving my school community as its principal. The job and title is not who I am. And some of you might be like, okay, get to the point. What are you trying to say here? I'm trying to say a lot of you, was not me. A lot of you are so focused on catching the title, catching the job, because it becomes an ego thing. And I get it, getting that job and getting that title is connected to a lot of different things. Social status, I know for some of you, income for all of you, because again, the bump up in pay from where you are as a teacher or a dean, going to an assistant principal position or assistant principal going to a principal position, it's pretty good. It's not a bad, it's very good, It's not life-changing money, but it's making life easier money. But however, if you don't understand the actions that are required of the work itself, because it is work, you will get caught up in a whirlwind, in a tornado, in a hurricane of just craziness. I remember when I had decided I was going to pursue the role of an assistant principal. And I'll be honest with you, initially, it's not something I wanted. I was happy with what I was doing. It wasn't really until the money pieces of it, because this is 20 years, about 15 years ago, when I realized, man, I need to make more money. I was doing a lot of procession, or some places it might be overtime. And I was like, maybe if I moved into this new position, I can make more money. But I wasn't concerned about the title really, because the work for me was aligned. I was fortunate to have had a principal and principals who allowed me to function on a high level as a dean, as a teacher leader. So a lot of the role of assistant principal I was already doing. But however, going fully into that space, it wasn't something I was really looking to do. But when I did it, or when I started the process, I did get caught up. Because what ended up happening is you start to fantasize, like, wait a minute, wow, I'm doing this program, I'm about to get my license. When I become an assistant principal, wow, that's different. Because people are going to look at me differently. And now I have to talk different, I have to dress different, I have to present myself differently than I did as the dean, as a servant to the community of students and teachers and parents. All of a sudden, the title triggered my ego to think I had to do something different. I had to be something more than who I already was. And subconsciously, I fought it, I think. Or maybe consciously I fought it. But I'll tell you this, as soon as that title happened, and I had that new office, and I was in that, I tell you what I did. I went out and bought me some new suits, bought me some new dress shoes. There was nothing wrong with how I was dressing before. There was nothing wrong with the shoes I had before. But all of a sudden now I had to present myself in this role, in this stereotypical way, based on this role and this title. And it made for a very difficult first couple of months, because I no longer was presenting as Uche Njoku, servant to the community. I was not presenting as assistant principal, leader in the community, respect me, respect my role, respect my title. And when I realized I was doing that, and I'll tell you how I realized I was doing that, the way kids connected to me changed. The way parents connected to me changed. The way I connected to them changed. I didn't like that. Thankfully, it was just a couple of months of me saying, okay, Uche, stop. Because you're still in the same space. You're technically still in the same office. You just move things around and change how you dressed, and you let your ego take over, and all of a sudden, now you're an assistant principal. So I did that. I asked myself, who am I? What is my purpose? What is the work that I'm here to do? And again, it became about the work and not the job. And once I found my center again and got back on track, the work went back to being amazing again. I found myself connected with my students the same way I connected with them as their dean. I spent time with them. I prioritized my work so I can be the best that I could be in service of my students, teachers, and families. So I say all to say, if you're now thinking to yourself, okay, I want to become an assistant principal, you have to ask yourself why. Are you doing it for title and just income and that's it? Or are you doing it because you want to further enhance and expand your influence in the work that you do to really support the community that you're working? That is the question you have to ask yourself. Listen, I'm no judge of anyone. If it's all about the money for you and the title, more power to you. But the job becomes so much, and because what happens now, the job itself becomes so much more complicated, because you're not doing it because of the work, you're doing it because of the job. For me, job is surviving, work is what you do, work is what you live in. So to those of you who are considering, pursuing becoming a school administrator, remember, it's not about the title, it's not about the positional authority and all that stuff. It's about who you already are, and you being able to expand yourself in a way that allows you to do more for those that you serve. Remember, we're servants. Okay, a true leader is one who's willing to get on your knees and wash the feet of those that they serve. One more time, a true leader is one who's willing to get on their knees and wash the feet of those that they serve. Some of you are like, what is he talking about? If you know, you know. Just Google that. Leader that gets on his knees and washes the feet of those that he or she serves. All right, y'all. Uche Njoku. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you later. Be well.